All right, welcome to the regular council meeting for March 9th, 2026 at 3 p.m. And I want to call the meeting to order. And I'm going to hand this over to Jody to say her bit.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Barton. Please note, council meetings are streamed live and recorded on YouTube. Attendees acknowledge that in accordance with Section 20 Sub 2 of the Access to Information Act and Section 4 Sub C of the Protection of Privacy Act, names, addresses, and other details provided when speaking at a council meeting will be publicly shared. Should you have any questions related to the collection or disclosure of personal information, please contact the Legislative and Advisory Services Division for the Town of High River by sending an email to atip@highriver.ca. That is ATIPP@highriver.ca.
Thank you, Jody. I'll move on to the adoption of the agendas. I'm going to ask Councillor McGonigal to make a motion to adopt the agenda for the regular council meeting on March 9th, 2026 as presented. And I forgot you like to read them out.
Okay. Wait a second. There we are. Yes, Deputy Mayor Barton, I'd like to make a motion that council approve the agenda as presented for the March 9th, 2026 regular meeting of council.
Thank you, Councillor McGonigal. All in favor? That motion's passed. And then adoption of the minutes, 3.1, February 26th, regular council meeting. I'm going to ask Councillor Cooey, be it resolved that council adopt the February 23rd, 2026 regular council meeting minutes as amended to withdraw resolution number 28-2026 under the item 7.1 and have further discussions today under item 11.1.
I will give you that, Mayor, Deputy Mayor Barton.
Thank you, Councillor Cooey. All in favor? Motion passed. All right, on to item number 4, public comments. And just a reminder, these public comments are for items that are within today's agenda, regular council meeting agenda. Does anybody have comments?
You all know who I am. Can you just explain what the
Can you just so the public can hear? Can you just state your name? I know you're Maureen.
Maureen Moncrief. Can you just state the amendment that you are putting into the meeting for last week?
Sure. Okay, Jody's going to speak to it.
So at the last meeting, there was item 7.1, which was a request for sponsorship from the F.E. Simpson second annual rodeo. And the amendment was to withdraw that resolution, and then council is going to discuss it further today under 11.1, which will be later in the agenda.
I also thought on that council meeting about the new policy for council, I thought Craig had said that it would be not carried forward, you agreed to it, but there could be discussions and amendments at this meeting.
Which one are you talking to?
The council procedure.
Your policy, council.
Okay.
I can just mention that there were no comments or anything received for council to consider today, so that's why it is not appearing on the agenda.
So someone has to make a formal before it will be discussed?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's good.
Thanks, Maureen. Anyone else? Okay, looks like we're close the public comments. Move on to item number 5.1, and I'll ask Jocelyn and Matthew to come up and present. I believe you have 4 items to present today, so we'll start off with the first one.
Okay, good afternoon, Council. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt, and I'm representing the CVAC. So today we have 4 recommendations for you, and I'll start with 5.1. So our first recommendation is in support of allocating $4,300 to Notre Dame Collegiate. The purpose of these funds is to purchase 8 indoor curling sets, which will allow Notre Dame to implement an all-inclusive activity for students of all ages, including those with diverse abilities. Previously, Notre Dame was able to borrow a curling set for a 2-week period. Within these 2 weeks, over 300 students participated in curling, and it proved to be a huge success. CVAX has decided to support the allocation of the funds for the following reasons. Curling is an all-inclusive activity that supports the physical well-being of students and exposes them to a non-traditional Canadian team sport. Not only does this expose to a new activity, but it also gives them an opportunity to engage with the community of High River if they decide to pursue curling outside of school hours. Some notes to take is the school is providing $1,000 of their own raised funds. Does anyone have any questions regarding this recommendation?
Thank you for presenting that, Matthew. I'll open it up for discussion. Councillor Nychuk.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Appreciate you bringing that forward and the clarification that the school, excuse me, that the school is contributing some funds towards that as well. I'll be voting in favor of the motion, or in support, I guess, of CVAC's decision bringing in front of us, for the simple reason that schools are taxed nowadays. I see this as a participatory addition to their, I guess, recreation or student activity component. We've donated to school initiatives in the past, and I think this one's favorable as well. I'm sure we'll have other schools come to us again, and we'll provide the support that we can when we can. So thanks for bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Councillor McGonigal.
Thank you. There's a couple of items on here for the various school divisions. And I'm wondering, they also have a separate requisition. How does this fit in with their financial picture? Like, they're requisitioning tax, and we collect for them, and then they're also asking for donations for items like curling equipment. So is this a separate organization, or is this actually the school division asking for money?
I'm going to have to refer to Jocelyn.
So all CVAC funding would be separate from the school funding. So even previously, when CVAC has funded different school items for both separate school divisions, it has been separate from what you're talking about.
I guess what I'm asking, is it the school asking for the funding?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll just be clear, I have a problem with that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor McGonigal. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Barton. And just to, I do want to clarify a little bit on schools, is that a lot of stuff that's funded in schools is usually through parent councils. So things like playgrounds, a lot of sporting equipment. If they have a dance competition or a dance instructor come, or a theater production, it's not usually paid for by like the school division dollars. So even though it's come from the school, it is not unusual for the schools to ask for help with funding. And a lot of times the difference in the funds come from a parent council. So where their $1,000, I don't think it specifically says, but even for playgrounds, they have to fundraise for those extra dollars. So it's not the school division that's doing it, it's that specific school.
Sorry, I'm not understanding your last comment. It's not the school division asking for the money, but it's coming.
The specific school is asking. So like Spitzy has asked for a playground, they've had a mural, Joe Clark got swings, I can't remember what some other,
Highwood High School, we funded the bleachers,
Oh, the
in
bleachers.
2025. And Senator Riley also, there was the outdoor classroom project. I believe that was in 2023 or 2024.
yeah. So a lot of times the extra money that is needed to fund these things come from parent council.
Does that answer your question?
I'm not sure it answers my concern. It answers my question.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. I don't see any more. I just saw one pop up. Councillor Nychuk.
Thank you. To Councillor McGonigal, I just would like to know what your concern is. If that's okay. It might make me change the way I'm thinking, so I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, my concern is that the request is coming from the school division, and the school division has the ability to levy taxes, and they do, and we collect them for them. And they are not as responsive to tax increases as, say, our body would be, in my experience. And they don't seem to be fully funding the activities that are beneficial for their students. That's my concern. They're double dipping, in my opinion, from the taxpayer.
Okay to respond, Deputy Mayor?
Absolutely.
Thank you. To clarify, first of all, it's coming from Notre Dame Collegiate. It is not coming from Christ the Redeemer, blah, blah. Sorry, I should know it. My wife works there, but drawing a blank. And to clarify, yeah, my positive, I guess, perspective on the money is not because my wife works there. Let's just make that clear. I thought I made it clear why I was supportive of it. I kind of get the double dip idea, but I think a lot of us understand the challenges that all schools face nowadays, and the funding that's allocated to school boards is very specific towards the academic or the educational component. Yes, some of those dollars go to things like this. Again, I'm going to be in support of this for the fact that it's kids in our community. It's a school in our community. It goes to the benefit of, I guess, the kids that participate in that school. I would hope that NDC might be willing to share with the public school on having, equipment like this. Not for me to decide. I'm not the principal of any of the schools. So, but I understand what you're saying, but I don't quite draw the same conclusion, I guess. So, but I appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Nychuk. Any other comments? No? All right. And we'll take, this time I'll ask for Councillor Nychuk to give me a motion, whereas Community Vitality Advisory Committee is responsible for the distribution of public funds to ensure the community has financial resources to execute priority projects and determined by residents. And whereas the Community Vitality I think I read one paragraph too many here. The Community Vitality Advisory Committee employs a process that values openness, transparency, accountability through the careful review of subjected application. Be it resolved, the Council award $4,300 to Notre Dame Collegiate to purchase indoor curling equipment. All in favor?
I'm assuming you want me to make the motion.
Oh, you come on,
Deputy Mayor.
See, like that's what happened last time. Okay, Michael.
It's teamwork. It's support. I'm just telling you, we got to.
This is caught on camera too. This is awesome.
It's all good.
All right.
It's all good.
Can I have your motion?
Yeah, Deputy Mayor Barton, I would be happy to give you that motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I move on to the next step? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed.
And I just want to say I'm opposed because I think we need to reconcile all of the requests made by the schools individually or whatever and have a look at how that fits in with the taxation model that we use, municipal taxes and school taxes.
for sure. No, that's a fair
Thanks.
comment. I think the only thing, and I might be wrong in saying this, but the school board taxation is actually, do we actually pay the school division or do we pay the province?
Pay the province.
Pay the province, okay. So, okay, I guess there's a little, okay. Fair question though, thank you. All right, number 5.2, back to Matthew and Jocelyn.
Okay, thank you guys for that. 5.2. Our second recommendation is in support of allocating $4,500 to the Highwood Lions Festival. The festival has served High River and surrounding communities since 1979, offering professional music classes for people of all ages. The purpose of these funds is to support the first phase of revitalizing the festival, which includes the adoption of a new name, Foothills Communities Music Festival, new graphics, a new website, and a stronger social media presence. As a result, the festival is looking to modernize their program in hopes of attracting new participants and sponsors. Traditionally, the festival's #1 sponsor has been the Lions Club, but with things changing internally within the club, this is no longer feasible. Any funds received from CVAC will strictly be used to facilitate growth and rebranding of Foothills Communities Music Festival. Does anyone have any questions about 5.2?
Councillor Cooey.
Not necessarily a question, just kind of an observation that this is a long-standing community program that celebrates challenges and showcases our local talent. And I know that they've had some challenges the last few years, so I'm really excited to see that, try to breathe new life into it, to hope we'll see it around supporting those youth for years to come. So I was thrilled to see this one on the table. So and thrilled to see so many CVAC just in general CVAC requests come to the table. So that's great. I'm sure you guys had a lively meeting.
I also wanted to mention that their initial request was for $5,000. We decided to approve $4,500 because we felt like some items weren't appropriate for our funds. For example, I think maybe some social media posts. We didn't think that was something that we necessarily had to support. So we did decide to do $4,500.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. I think one thing I noted too here on the page, and you might actually mention it, I might have missed that part of it when I was looking at something, but the 2006 festival is this March 16th to the 27th, so it's coming up for the community to enjoy. Any other further questions from anybody? No? Okay. So I'm gonna ask for a motion from Councillor Brookwell. I'm going to make sure that I stay on proper course here. Do I read all
I'll give you that motion, Deputy Mayor Barton.
Okay, just 1 second. I'm going to ask for a motion from Councillor Brookwell. Be it resolved that Council award $4,500 to Highwood Lions Music Festival to support their rejuvenation project. Can I have your motion?
I'll give you that motion, Deputy Mayor Barton.
That's long-winded. Thank you, Councillor Brookwell. All in favor? Motion passed. All right, Matthew and Jocelyn, we're on to 5.3, the 2026 Canadian Grandmasters Fiddle Competition.
Okay, thank you. This is a fun one that we discussed a lot about. So we are presenting the. Sorry, let me get here. The 36th Annual Canadian Grandmasters Fiddle Competition. The Canadian Grandmasters was established in 1989 as a prestigious invitational fiddle competition. The event travels annually nationwide, and High River was chosen for this year. Elite fiddlers from all over Canada will be coming to High River to compete in this event. Not only does it include people from all over Canada, but it also has an opportunity for locals to participate as well. So there's it's a 4-day event, which includes Well, we'll just go through the list here. On Thursday, it's a fiddle jam at the Monroe Bar in Shepherd Family Park. This is a free event and it's open for people to bring their instruments and participate. On Friday, it's a competition between the young and the older, and it's a ticketed event where you're actually playing the fiddle itself. You could see throughout the events here, there's 2 events that are free. So we have the pancake breakfast and what else was free here? The outdoor kitchen. So here we go. So that's also a great opportunity for everyone to participate. Now, $15,000 was a lot for a request for one event, but we feel that the exposure that's going to come to High Rivers is great. It's also going to support local businesses in supporting the event itself, and obviously people are going to need to stay in hotels and eat at our restaurants. So we supported the full $15,000. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Councilor Nychuk.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Barton. This one has me kind of on the fence. It's a really big ask. In the presentation of materials, I found some things lacked for me, or maybe some things jumped out at me as maybe not being entirely attributable. That one being volunteer hours that have gone into this already. It dates back quite far. Sorry, I can't remember the year, but I'll remember Truro, Nova Scotia as the location. And all my appreciation to the people that have brought this forward. But I'm not sure that 3 or 4 years ago was maybe an investigative procedure that counts for volunteer hours, maybe more so. They seem passionate about this, so I can see them attending events. So that's not the big piece. The big piece is when these things come to us and they say community economic benefit, I would like to see more detail in terms of extrapolated numbers on what that benefit is. If you've gone to all these events, you've indicated those as volunteer hours in determining the success or ability of an event like this. I would think there would be more information into participation, economic dollars that those event sites previous might have generated. I don't recall reading anything about contestant participation or what those numbers are when we talk about using hotels and restaurants and supporting local businesses buying a, I went to High River and all I got was this lousy T-shirt kind of thing. There's that stuff. That's just not there for me. So and I don't want to pass it off that this group isn't passionate, hasn't done a lot of work, which they clearly, they have done. I would just like to see more of those things, and maybe that's a comment from me back to CVAC more than anything than it is to the group, because the group might have that information, and it wasn't brought to us. So, that's where my head is at. It's a big dollar ask. To me, it isn't entirely legitimized, founded. Not trying to speak negatively of the input that's been put into it right now, but it is significant. But on the other hand, I have to go back to it being a CVAC decision and coming to us for final approval. So, CVAC is an organization, an institution that was put in place to make these decisions. And so instead of these coming to council directly all the time, we put a group in place that are community volunteers that help make these decisions, and have to respect that too. So just some of my comments publicly and to council. Thank you very much.
So I could give you just some feedback as far as our decision. So they did say they're anticipating 150 participants. Obviously, those people are going to be coming with families, so I don't know if it'd be fair to double 150, but we could at least add 75 people. As far as a big ask, I do agree. $15,000 is a large chunk of our budget. I think one thing that fueled us to approve the full budget, the $15,000, is that last year we didn't use our full budget, and we felt like there was funds wasted for our committee. So we would rather use the funds rather than see them be wasted. Another reason would be a lot of these funds are going to go into facility rentals, which is going to support the local businesses such as the Highwood Center and stuff like that. Another thing is fiddling is a Canadian. It's part of our Canadian history, and it was a cool opportunity to show the community maybe some history of Canada. And also we learned that there's many different fiddle styles throughout Canada, and it exposes us to that whole community. So that's a little bit of our reasoning for our decision. Yeah.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that context, having that dialogue back and forth. That's great. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Nychuk. Councillor Cooey.
Thanks. Just a bit of a follow-up regarding the economic development. Well, that kind of information would have been really nice to see and beneficial. It's not a requirement of a CVAC application, and I think that's might be above and beyond what we might ask some of our volunteer committees to ask for. You're right, maybe some of the other communities have, because this is one of the smallest communities to have hosted this in a number of years. So I think kudos to our very passionate leaders and people bringing it here to our community to highlight that. But I just wanted to be clear that that's not a recommendation of CVAC to be able to offer that sort of information.
Thanks, Councillor Cooey. Any more questions or comments? We're good? Okay. We'll move to a motion. I'm going to ask Councillor Jones for a motion. Be it resolved that Council award $15,000 to the Alberta Committee of Alberta Committee of the Canadian Grandmasters Fiddling Association to support the 2026 Canadian Grandmasters Fiddle Competition.
I'll give you that motion, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion passed. Number 3 down. All right, we'll move on to number 4. Again, Matthew and Jocelyn, we're going to talk about the CVAC Committee's recommendations for 3rd Annual High River Stampede Breakfast.
Okay, thank you. As you mentioned, the next request is for the High River Pancake Breakfast. So we did fund this event last year, $5,000, and this year we approved, the committee approved $2,500, which is half of last year. The reason we did this is because we feel like part of our initiative is to help people get on their feet and get their events rolling, and we feel like after this year they should be able to be on their own, self-sufficient with their own sponsors and whatnot. So the High River Stampede Breakfast is going in its 3rd consecutive year. In 2025, the event served 6,000 pancakes. The event this year will be held on Saturday, July 25th, during the Battle of the Foothills. Event festivals include 2 live country bands, roaming acoustic guitarist, Steel Scouts shout-out in George Lane Park, soapbox chuck wagon races, chili cook-off, pancake eating contest, and more. Free pancakes, sausages, coffee, and water will be served to the first 3,000 guests. As I mentioned, the application was submitted for $10,000 and we approved $2,500. We believe that the The pancake breakfast should be self-sustaining next year, and this should be our last time providing funds.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Is there any, Councillor McGonigal?
They don't charge for anything, so how can they be self-sustaining? It boggles my mind. It's a community building event. Most of it's free, involves, all of it from what I can see is free, involves music, getting the community together, inviting people from outside the community. How could they become self-sustaining?
Purely through sponsors. So I know they deal with a number of local businesses who support their event. My business included. It's just a great event for the community. People come from all over, including Calgary and Airdrie. It's not just a High River thing. So it's a big exposure, and they hold it's a very fun event. The answer is purely sponsors.
What sponsors? I'm not hearing that.
They raise their funds through sponsorships.
Some. Okay. The committee didn't value the community building aspect of it?
Pardon me, sorry?
The committee didn't value the community building aspect of this for High River?
So, sorry, I'll just add to this. So yes, the committee very much did value that, and that's also why they funded it for $5,000 last year. A big part of the discussion is that CVAC is intended for seed funding to get events or projects started. So a lot of what CVAC has done in the history before Matt joined the committee is that some event will get, say, $10,000, and then the next year maybe $5,000, and try to gradually wean them off that funding so they become self-sustaining on their own.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody just disappeared. Any more questions? Any more questions? Okay, I think we're good. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion from Councillor McGonigal, and I will let you read it. Or do you want me to read it?
No, I could make the motion, but I don't like the idea of cutting them back by half when it's a community-led event. So I'd prefer not to make the motion. Thanks.
Okay. Can I get Councillor Cooey to make a motion?
Are you going to read it?
Do you want me to read? I'll read it, sorry. I can look at it right now. I'm reading it. Ask for Councillor Cooey to make a motion. Be it resolved that Council award $2,500 to the 3rd annual High River Stampede Breakfast event held on July 25th, 2026.
Can I say something before you do
You sure can.
that? Can I? Sorry.
I know you guys didn't bring this up, but when we were at the meeting too, because I'm on the committee, but I don't get to make that decision, it was brought to our attention that they actually turned away sponsorship last year. So they are becoming very self-sufficient. Just so you're aware that she did say that they turned away sponsorship. And CVAC isn't meant to continually investing in them. We help support them. And so like the balloon festival, if it becomes a big thing, could come as an annual something to council, right? If we decided that, rather than CVAC.
Yeah, what's that called when we do that? It becomes a fee for service, so, yeah. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, all right, over to Councillor Cooey.
I will give you that motion, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion passed. Okay, on to, are you ready, Jody?
Yeah, do you want me to sit?
You can sit wherever you want. 5.5, Natural Gas Franchise Agreement Bylaw. I'm going to turn this over to Jody.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Today I'm presenting the final natural gas franchise agreement. Utility franchise agreements are governed under the Municipal Government Act and require a bylaw to support the agreement. So that's why you will see the bylaw attached within your council package. It is bylaw 4652-2025, and today we are looking for second and third reading. First reading of bylaw 4652-2025 took place back in August of 2025, and we were planning on bringing this bylaw back for adoption in November. However, an intervener did come forward and was recognized, which delayed the process with the Alberta Utilities Commission. So that's why we are coming to you today, a few months later than initially planned. The bylaw, once fully adopted with third reading today, will also rescind the 2015 bylaw, which was 4442-2015. The franchise fee is currently 20%, and administration is recommending this remain the same for the next 10-year term. However, ATCO has confirmed that the rate can be reviewed at any time. So even though we're entering into a 10-year agreement, we still can review that 20% percentage rate at any time. In Alberta, just for information, the maximum franchise fee percentage for natural gas distribution is 35%. And when administration reviewed the franchise fees that other municipalities across the province have implemented, there's a wide range, with some municipalities that have 0 franchise fees to others being at that maximum of the 35% franchise fees. We could not identify any particular trend or reason as to whether larger or smaller municipalities were at one end of the spectrum. So it really seems to be down to whatever each municipality is comfortable with. The fee is calculated as a percentage of the total distribution charges on a customer's natural gas bill, and then the funds are provided to the town and form part of general revenues. If council agrees and gives second and third reading to bylaw 4652-2025 today, administration will execute the agreement and send both the adopted bylaw and the agreement to ATCO to finalize the process. Does council have any questions?
Councillor Nychuk.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Can you shed any light on the intervener piece, or is that a land and legal that is not able to disclose in this forum?
Like you're actually looking for the name of the individual that
No,
came
I
forward,
don't
or
want the name, just
process?
the general, what was being intervened, what
Yeah.
stopped the process from going ahead, because.
It was,
Yeah, curious.
sorry, it was actually an interesting situation because the intervener didn't necessarily have an issue with the 20% that the town was considering proceeding with. Their inquiry or concern was more regarding whether the fee itself should be in existence. So I believe it took a little bit longer for the Alberta Utilities Commission to consider how they manage that, because it wasn't the typical intervener that is looking specifically at what our municipality is looking for the percentage-wise. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but my understanding from ATCO is that the Alberta Utilities Commission had to figure out how to manage that intervener, because it wasn't necessarily the proper route for that type of concern to come forward.
I think maybe I might be more confused than when I asked the question, but.
I can tell you it was confusing, and I think it was also challenging for ATCO as well, because they hadn't seen this type of intervener come forward. But as soon as an intervener takes the time and goes through that process, it must be addressed.
So to back it up a little bit, it wasn't the percentage as it more so was the dollars and how.
It was more so that this type of tax or tariff should not be imposed on residents within communities.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah. No, I could. I think all of us have a hard time swallowing it when we see the bill. But if it wasn't line itemed, it would be there anyway. If we as the municipality are going to charge for that right of way, and receive it, that company is going to recapture that somehow, and they're going to go to their consumers to recapture it anyway. So I guess there's some transparency here in what that collection of the municipality is, and then what they end up billing back to the customer as a line item on the actual bill that you see from them. So thanks, helps somewhat. Thank you.
Any more questions, council, on this one? If not, I'm going to ask Councillor McGonigal, can you do this one? Give me a motion for this one. $5.5.
Just getting to it.
Yep.
Make a motion that council gives second reading to bylaw 4652 of 2025, the natural gas franchise agreement bylaw, and I'll leave it at that. I'll let someone else make the next motion.
Actually, you can do that next portion.
Okay, if you wish, and that we proceed to give the third and final reading.
Nope, sorry, just the unanimous consent. This portion.
Yes, and that council give unanimous consent to proceed with the final reading of bylaw 4652 of 2025, being the natural gas franchise agreement.
Thank you, Councillor McGonigal. All in favor? Motion passed. And then we'll move on to final, is it final reading? Yeah. Final reading, third and final reading of the bylaw. And I'm going to ask Councillor Brookwell, where did that page go? It just disappeared on me. Yeah. Oh, right there, okay. Be it resolved, the council give third and final reading to bylaw 4652 2025, the natural gas franchise agreement bylaw. I have to read the next part too? Okay, wow, this is, we didn't go through this in the meeting, yeah. And the council repeal bylaw 4442-2025, the natural 2015, the natural gas distribution system franchise agreement bylaw. And further to that, council authorized the execution of the form of agreement by mayor and chief administrative officer. Your go.
I'll give you that motion, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brookwell. All in favor? Motion passed. All right, we're going on to 5.6, and I'll have Shelley come up and give us a presentation on the FCSS community grants.
Good afternoon, Deputy Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having me today. For those of you that haven't met me, my name is Shelley Coote, and I am your Manager of Community Support Services for the town of High River. Before you today is the 2026 FCSS Community Grant recommendations that has been discussed and recommended for you from our FCSS Task Force. Just wanted to give maybe a brief overview for those who aren't familiar with FCSS. It is a unique initiative to the province of Alberta, and it is a funding partnership between the government and local municipalities. It is a minimum of an 80-20 split. Municipalities is the 20 piece, and most municipalities, such as ours, do contribute above and beyond their amount. A good part of that is that we have to meet FCSS regulation and act with that, but part of that ensures that there's consistency across the province. What is nice about these particular dollars is that the local municipalities have autonomy in how those dollars are allocated. Here in High River, the majority of our funds go to our team, so we run an FCSS Community Resource Center. In addition to that, we do some community initiatives. What we also prioritize is ensuring that we set aside funds for our local social profit organizations to help us do that preventive social service work. And so approved in this year's budget was $75,000 to support local social profit organizations. What is new to this year's ask in front of you is that we switched some wording to say that we are funding up to 75, and I wanted to just spend a little bit of time just explaining that. The recommendations before you actually total $65,000, leaving us an additional $10,000 to spend in either Q3 or Q4 on either emerging need or a community initiative, something that might be a new project that comes forward. The applications that are filled out by social profits are actually joint applications within our region. So Okotoks, Diamond Valley, Foothills County, and ourselves share our application process. So these applications come to us at the end of November each year. So our 2027 applications will come to us in the end of 2026. So some of our asks aren't as fresh. So having set aside some dollars allows us to maybe meet some emerging needs that we didn't consider when these applications were submitted back in November. In addition to that, we coordinate the outcomes that we share with the province to make sure that we're sharing accurate numbers out on the projects that we fund. So before you today is the ask, and perhaps I'll just read through that. But before I do that, I just wanted to thank the task force. This year's task force consisted of Councillor Barton, as well as our senior leadership team, and myself, just to provide some additional information and context to the asks. So the recommendation before you today is that $15,000 be allocated to BGC Foothills Club, $5,000 to the Family School Liaison Program, $1,600 to Foothills Community Immigrant Services, $9,400 to Country Hospice, $5,000 to the Family School Liaison Program with the Foothills School Division, $12,000 for Inclusion Foothills, $6,000 for the Preventative Education Program with Rowan House, $1,000 for Solace Grief Support, and $10,000 for Wild Rose Community Connections. I'm happy to answer and address any questions or concerns you might have at this time.
Councillor McGonigal.
Can you explain to me, I'm new to this process, what the family school liaison programs are? There's two of them totaling 10,000. What are those programs?
Yes, so these are each school division. So Christ the Redeemer School Division has either they call them family counselors or family school liaison workers that work with students in the school who might be struggling. So it might be struggling with things that are happening in the home that's impacting their work at school. They might do individual work with children, or they might run groups in the school. So it's a bit different. So they do have them in elementary, junior high, and senior high schools.
And I guess my follow-up question is, why isn't the school division funding this?
It is the same question that our task force asks each year.
That you're sorry?
It's a question that our task force also asks each year. Right now, as the funds continue to be clarified with the school division as to where those dollars are going, they are underfunded for these particular programs. And I think we have the discussion each year and talk about whether or not we can make a change in that, or is it about supporting these vulnerable children in the schools? And in the end, that's kind of where we come to. So we only give a portion of what they're asking for. Unfortunately, we can't meet everybody's need, and this is one of the ones that it keeps us at the table and contributing, but it also allows us to kind of give that message of, is there another funding source that should this be coming from the school division or the Ministry of Education and not through ours?
Just to follow up, does this involvement assist FCSS in making that contact with school children?
My apologies, could you repeat that? Does who?
Does being involved in these liaison programs, does that assist FCSS in making that connection with youth and school children, or not?
What it does is it helps us meet some of our mandate, which is ensuring that those that are vulnerable in our province, because it is provincial funding, but in our community, have access to quality services. So the family school liaison officers or workers also refer to community resources. So they'll make sure, so our workers will often work with them in doing referrals back and forth. So we see it as an asset to have them in the schools. It's not to necessarily, when they're in school, we don't get to see those kids. So we do see it as an asset to the work that we do, and it does align with our mandate.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. I'm going to ask Councillor Jones to give me a motion after I read this big, long thing here. No, I'm going to read it. Be it resolved, the Council approve the allocation of the 2026 FCSS community grants as recommended by the FCSS Community Grant Task Force to come from 2026 FCSS budget as follows. 15,000 to the BGC Foothills Club, 5,000 to the Family School Liaison Program at the Chrysler Redeemer School Division, $1,600 to the Foothills Community Immigrant Services, 9,400 to the Foothills Community Hospice, Foothills Country Hospice, 5,000 to the Family School Liaison Program of Foothills School Division, $12,000 to Inclusion Foothills, $6,000 to the Prevention Program of Rowan House Emergency Shelter, $1,000 to the Solace Grief Support Society, and $10,000 to Wild Rose Community Connections Dad Connects program specifically.
I'll give you that motion, Deputy Mayor Barton.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. All in favor? Motion passed. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley. That was good. All right, 5.7, transition from municipal outdoor warning siren system to Alberta Emergency Alert System. We're going to have Fire Chief Steve DBN up here. Is sunglasses coming up with you? No. Thanks, Trevor. All right, Steve.
Good afternoon, Deputy Mayor and Council. Before Council today is a recommendation from administration to transition from the town's public emergency notification from the outdoor sirens to Alberta Emergency Alert System. The sirens were installed following the 2013 flood as part of the town's early warning infrastructure, with 2 units placed, one in the northwest, one in the southeast areas, to provide immediate notification during emergencies. Since this time, technology has garnered faster and grown stronger than that point in 2013. Over time, the sirens have aged and are now experiencing increasing mechanical issues that require ongoing testing, maintenance, software licensing, and repairs. In addition, sirens have limitations as notification tool. As a community grows, their effectiveness becomes less certain, particularly for residents who are indoors, in vehicles, or outside the audible ranges. There has also been public confusion about what actions residents should take when a siren is activated. Administration is recommending transitioning to the Alberta Emergency Alert, which is Alberta's implementation of the National Alert Ready system. This system allows authorized municipal and provincial officials to issue emergency alerts for imminent threats to life. Alerts are delivered directly to cell phones connected to local towers, as well as through television and radio broadcasts, helping ensure that residents receive timely and geographically targeted emergency information. Alberta Emergency Alert also allows alerts to include clear instructions on what residents should do during an emergency, reducing confusion and improving response during critical events. For the most serious situations, a broadcast intrusive alert which will override all device sound settings and ensure that alerts are seen and heard immediately. If Council approves recommendation, administration would implement a public education campaign to ensure all residents understand how Alberta Emergency Alert works and how they will receive notifications. Following the education campaign, the municipal siren system would be discontinued, with any future costs related to decommissioning the infrastructure brought forward at a later budget process. Any questions from Council?
Thanks. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Steve. Councilor Nychuk.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Just, I guess, to add some context to this from the seats of myself and Councillor Brookwell, we're on the Emergency Advisory Council, and we had discussed this previously with the emergency management team, and really looked at it as an improper use of funds in terms of repairing the sirens as they sit right now, and that as Chief DeBian said, there are better alternatives to get messages out to the community now. So it was a matter of, we had a fairly substantial initial bill to do some repair, with the foresight that was probably more to come in terms of repairing them. So this was somewhat enacted outside of this, so this isn't just Chief DeBian bringing this today. We've had some discussion on this for a while, and it's resulted in the work from emergency management to look at that Alberta emergency alert system and make sure it was adequate, more than adequate, that it was the right thing to do going forward in terms of a long-term solution to advise the community of such things transpiring. So just wanted to add a little bit more context to Chief's request for decision here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Nychuk. Councillor McGonigal.
Just a quick question. I remember during the 2013 flood, I wasn't in High River then. I was in Longview, and cell service was cut off completely, all the way over to Longview. So how is the system going to accommodate that kind of a circumstance? Because we had to go out and use OnStar in the car to tell people we were above the floodplain. Just sad.
Great question, Councillor McGonigal. Since 2013, the redundancy systems have grown stronger and more redundant, with cell towers now backhauling off of cell towers, which really limits the actual brownout now of cell towers. They will be compromised and they may be reduced, but the cell signals now, with the amount of towers up, is a lot stronger and more adequate now than they would have been in the 2013 flood time. That, coupled with radio station, has changed. So the radio station now broadcasts out of Okotoks. So being able to tap into that tower with that broadcast intrusive alert would then push it back into the High River residents. As well as many residents have Starlink and other types of internet devices now, which weren't available back in 2013. Being on many, many different fires over the last 5 years, we've seen that the cell towers have been far more sustainable now than they ever have been previously.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Cooey.
Thanks very much for the report, Chief. Just curious about timing for the decommissioning, because I know there's some educational components in that. Is there kind of a time frame for decommissioning the sirens at this point?
At this point, no. There's no harm, no foul if we leave them up. It's just about getting this transparent out to the citizens, deactivate the sirens, and then start to work, or have the campaign come in and then start to work on deactivating the sirens previous and prior to the hazard season, which we're anticipating to hit about May, typical as the provincial calls it, the hazard inputs. So the idea is to get ahead of that curve, get the campaign out before then, and then make some decisions based off of some more inputs from the Emergency Advisory Committee, as well as our EM team and senior leadership.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cooey. One comment and then one question. So one comment was, and it's to do with what Councillor McGonigal said. One of the things that I've noticed too recently with my cell phone provider anyways is that I like seamlessly switching over to satellite so if the cell service goes down, a lot of cell phones are now going to satellite. So that may be helpful a little bit, I guess. Next piece, I just wanted to ask you a question when it comes to the Alberta Emergency Management Alert System, or Emergency Alert System. You can specifically target areas with that system. Can you not? Like if you want to send something just out to High River residents or somebody that's within the region, you can do that, correct?
We can isolate it right down to a block even, but yes, absolutely. We can isolate High River geographically. We can isolate northwest, southeast. So we've got a lot of opportunities and options within it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was good. I wanted to make sure I was correct on that, and it's good for the public to know one of the reasons I guess we go with that system. So, okay, any more questions for Steve? No questions? Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk. Be it resolved that the council approve the transition to Alberta Emergency Alert as the town's primary emergency notification system, direct administration to undertake a public education campaign, and authorization discontinuation of the municipal outdoor warning siren system following completion of the campaign.
Happy to give that motion, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Nychuk. All in favor? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Steve. All right, we're going to turn this over to Jody. We're going to talk about 5.8, which is the Charles Clark Medical Center CCMC Property Management Service Contract.
Thank you. Hello again, Deputy Mayor and Council. As a recap, the town took full ownership and operational control of the Charles Clark Medical Center, or CCMC as we call it for short, at the end of 2023. In early 2024, the town entered into a property management agreement with EDON to oversee the CCMC. This was because the town was new to taking on a facility of this magnitude and wanted to ensure the continuity of service levels for the tenants. However, in an effort to reduce costs for the tenants of the CCMC, administration is now recommending shifting from a property management model to a building maintenance model. The building maintenance model will be supported by Public Works, with legislative and advisory services providing the tenant relations and agreement support. Administration recognizes that workloads will increase with this shift. However, the situation will be continually monitored while the appropriate long-term model is determined. The report in the council package includes termination of the agreement effective April 10th, 2026, which is in alignment with the 30 days notice in the agreement. We have given EDON early notice that they knew that this was coming to council today, so that this wasn't a surprise for them. Does council have any questions regarding this item?
Councillor Nychuk.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Being that a few years ago, this was entirely new to us. We brought the property management company on. Can you give us some insight into our ability and confidence? Not that I'm questioning that, but I just want to bring it out to the public purvey about us taking that quote-unquote management role on and us looking after that facility instead of having a contractor. Obviously, there's still cost to that. We're going to use Town of High River staff and whatnot to accomplish the undertaking. But if we could speak to that a little bit about maybe what we learned through the process of having a contracted company, what we're going to do now and carry it forward, I think might just be beneficial for all. If we could, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I believe there's two sides to this because there will be a decrease in the level of service that the tenants have received and may expect at the CCMC. However, we're confident that the public works staff can provide similar service that they do to our other facilities, such as the Shepherd Family Park, the Highwood Center, the museum, the library. This will become another one of the facilities that our public works staff is supporting. We do have meetings scheduled with each, actually, Chief Administrative Officer Chris and I, Chief Administrative Officer Prosser and I, to meet with each of the tenants individually over the next 2 weeks to give them this update in person and talk through what that will look like. As we are bringing on board citywide the new asset management system that will have a work order component to it, we are looking to assist those tenants with how to submit a work order so that it can get logged into the system and have facility staff from Public Works respond as quickly as possible based on a priority nature of what the request is. So not only will there be a bit of an influx to the demand to our staff, there will also be that change to the actual level of service that the tenants at CCMC are actually seeing. Because currently EDON has a staff member on site Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., which that service will no longer be where there is a staff member on site anymore. So it's definitely a shift from a property management to a more building maintenance type model for this facility. Does that answer?
Yeah, can I have a question or two?
Yeah.
So we did give preliminary notice to EDON. Were the tenants at CCMC given a bit of a heads up? I know you guys have meetings scheduled. Were they given a bit of a heads up to, or these meetings were kind of, hey, we're coming to talk to you about this, so that was the heads up?
So they know that there is a couple of updates that we need to give them, but they haven't been given the specific that it's EDON, the property management shift. So yes, if they see this today, the secret's out of the bag.
Then on that service side, the reduction of service level, there being a staff member from the previous management company there, is it safe to assume that management company might have done things like mop spilled coffee on the floor, plunge a toilet? What kind of things were they taking care of? Because I'm unaware. Thank you.
Yes, I would assume that it could have been all of those and more. Those type of items now that come up, they will be reaching out either to a member of my team or myself with any general concerns that we may be able to assist with. As for general mopping and that, there is also a cleaning contract in place for CCMC. So if there was something of that nature where we needed to call in a special cleaning service, we could look at that as well, or if it's something that our facilities staff through Public Works could address as well. So.
Okay, thanks. It sounds like we've thought about it, talked about it, and have something in place to help take care of it going forward. Okay, thank you.
Any more questions regarding that? No? Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion from Councillor Cooey. Be it resolved that Council direct administration to terminate the contract with EDON Property Incorporated, operating as EDON Management, for the property management services provided to the Charles Clark Medical Center, effective April 10th, 2026, which aligns with the required 30 days written notice in the contract.
I'll give you that motion, Deputy Mayor Barton.
Thanks, Councillor Cooey. All in favor? Motion passed. All right, we're going on to item number 6, which is councillor and board committee reports. Is there anything that anybody would like to bring up? Councillor Cooey, your first one up.
Thank you. Westmans Communities, in particular the Manor, just because it's our local facility, is currently doing a pie fundraiser. So if you're in interest of an apple pie or a strawberry rhubarb pie, orders can be taken at the lodge until the 15th and pick up just in time for Easter. So I encourage you to get out and get a homemade pie made by the residents.
You're not taking orders?
I could.
So you just go to Westwind, to the Medicine Tree Manor, right?
Or you can email lodge@westwindscommunities.ca or call the manor and talk to Carrie Lemon.
Perfect. Awesome. Councillor McGonigal.
Just a quick update. The library is well underway in the review of its plan of service. Hoping to have something finalized towards the end of June, and they're looking forward to that. On the museum, I just wanted to let everyone know there's a new exhibit at the museum, and it's an art exhibit, and it's well worth seeing. A lot of Western art. It's beautifully done. So encourage everyone to go and see that. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor McGonigal. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Barton. I just wanted to talk about the Chamber. They will be attending the Political Action Day and MLA dinner in Edmonton this week, as well as their AGM is coming up March 25th in the evening at Mr. Mike's, but check out their website. I do think you have to register to go, or I know they have a supper beforehand, and then I think maybe the afternoon or the evening portion is for anybody to attend. Those that are already Chamber members will be mostly involved, but if you're interested to know what the Chamber's all about, that might be a good one to go to.
Thanks, Councillor Jones. One thing I wanted just to add was one of the committees that I'm on is a Highwood Center, and they were raising funds for the updating the audio system, and so and I guess at the last councillors or the what did we call it when everybody was up? The forum, yeah, that's it. At the forum, we had some challenges with the mics and stuff. At that point, we already knew we were fundraising for a new audio system, and now it's actually pieces are starting to come in, and they're going to have a new audio system that is throughout most of the building. Don't quote me on that, but it is most of the building, and with a lot of flexible options and ability to stream the audio, which will be helpful for the next forum. So anyways, I just want to let everybody know they are going to start upgrading the indoor lighting system too for performances and stuff like that. So that's it from that perspective. Any other comments on councillor notes or reports? Okay, we're going to go on to number 7, council correspondence requiring action, 7.1, and I'm going to turn this back over to Jody. This is with regard to something rescinded at the very beginning. You know what, actually, I just noticed something. At the very beginning of the, it was 11.1, yeah. What do we do there?
We can make that administrative change that it's actually 7.1, not 11.1, that we were withdrawing and reconsidering today. So yes, to speak to this item, at the last council meeting, council approved a sponsorship of $2,500 to the second annual Effie Simpson Canadian Girls Rodeo Association and their 2026 Memorial Rodeo. Immediately following the February 23rd council meeting, questions were raised as to whether this was the usual rodeo or rodeos that the town sponsors. Administration after confirmed that this is a new rodeo event and a new sponsorship request. The request does not specify an amount. However, it does state that donations over $200 are able to hang signage or a banner in the arena during the event. Administration confirmed the 2026 budget includes $5,500 for typical rodeo sponsors And we have confirmed that we sponsor the Guy Weedick Rodeo for $2,500. And we do need to do a little bit more research to confirm the other funds that are held within that budget. Reason being is that we do have confirmation that there is $2,500 that goes to the High River Egg Society. However, we're still looking to confirm whether that is for the Little Britches Rodeo or the Chuck Wagons. However, we believe it is for the Chuck Wagons. We do also provide water to the rodeo events. So we were unsure if we do receive some other form of recognition without providing a sponsorship in return for the water that the town provides. So there is some budget dollars here if council wishes to consider sponsoring this second annual Effie Simpson Canadian Girls Rodeo.
Okay, thanks, Jody. Any questions on this particular item? Councillor McGonigal.
Do they have a deadline for us to make a decision, or have we, we don't have enough information, I'm gathering from your comments, to make a decision on a donation? I'd like to encourage girls in rodeo myself. It's a very hallmark Western sport, but I think we need to know if there's deadlines and recommended amounts from administration, if any.
Okay, so the event itself is on May 1st and 2nd. I just wanted to pull up the letter to see if there was a deadline included in here. And I'm not seeing a deadline. So if council would like to have administration complete further research into the various rodeos that have been funded before, and if in fact the Chuck Wagon sponsorship is in return for water provided, we can do that, as there is no deadline on here. And as for an amount, I think that would be up to council to determine and advise at what level council would like to sponsor such an event.
I guess I'd like to see just a financial impact, budgetary financial impact, and suggestions. And have they provided a budget of donations that they're looking for?
We have not received a package per se of what donations they have received or what donation, like sponsorship levels they have. Like typically you'd have like a diamond and a golden or whatever. They do not have that level of detail. The only indication is that if it's over 200, then you can have a sign or a banner displayed during the event in the arena.
You're looking to me.
Just to see if there's any more questions.
Is there? Holy, there is. I didn't even see them all. There's a whole bunch of questions. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Barton. I was actually just going to offer to make a motion for $250 to this event.
All right. You guys are you're throwing every twist at me today. This is awesome because we actually have 500 down here. Okay, so how do I do this? I accept that motion? Friendly? Put it on the floor? Even though there's other questions here? Do I do that before the questions or after?
You can put the motion on the floor and then it can be debated with those other questions.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that if I put the motion on the floor? All right. Open it up for debate. Do I go to the next question or next one? Okay. Councillor Nyachuk.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Jones, for that. Exactly where my headspace was at. This came to us last council meeting in, I don't want to call it error, but we were all under the impression that it was an event that we already sponsor. Be that as it may, it went through. We all said, yes, we're going to do it again. It come to light that it was not the same event, so it's back here in front of us today. I would be remiss if we just kind of tossed it out the window since we've talked about it. And I think a donation in kind of $250 for an event like this is great. We have difficulty. There's so many events that come into the community. Yes, we look after some events in terms of sponsorship. They tend to be those bigger community-driven events that we're all historically fond of, or that drive a lot of visitorship to the community. I'm not saying that this event can't become that, and at some point a council in the future might choose to make it a yearly standing donation like Little Britches. I can't predict the future, but in terms of what we did last meeting to this meeting, I'd like to say I'm supporting an extraordinary effort of donating something to this organization and giving them something now and wishing them the best. And our apologies for the confusion that we had as council when this came to us last meeting. And in kind, I think this is the right thing to do. So.
Thank you, Councillor Nychuk. Councillor Cooey.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I agree. I think, when you talk about some of those bigger events, sometimes the $250 makes all the difference to some of these smaller events as well. So I'm absolutely able to support that. But I guess we are going to think I need, when we look at our next item coming up, some clarification. Because if we do give $2,500 to the Chucks and to this, then we've used up our budget. So I think we are going to need some clarification and also confirmation on whether the water is considered a gift in kind.
Thanks, Councillor Cooey. Any more questions, Timmy, or do you have any other things you want to add, Jody? No? Okay. Okay, so the motion, do I call it a friendly, or just a?
It's a motion on the floor that $250, that was
Yeah.
the motion that was put forward.
So it's not a friendly amendment?
Not a friendly amendment.
Okay. Wow.
I'll vote no.
Like all these different terms now. Okay, the motion on the floor from Councillor Jones is to donate $250, and I'm going to ask Councillor Brookwell to give me a motion, be it resolved that council direct administration to donate $250 to support the second annual F.E. Simpson Canadian Girls Rodeo Association CGRA Memorial Rodeo. What do we got to do?
Jenny's already put the motion on the floor, so you don't need another mover. It's just calling the vote.
Okay.
All right.
All these rules here. Okay. Councillor Jones, can you give me a motion?
I'll give you that motion.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Jones. All in favor? Motion passed. Man, this is... It is. Yeah. Okay, so then we're going to move on to number 7.2, which is another sponsorship. I'm going to turn this one over to Jody as well. This is for the Higher Rag Society Little Britches Rodeo sponsorship request. And I think Councillor Cooey already made a comment on this, so Wallace.
Yes, and I believe the comment, Councillor Cooey, was that we need to confirm who we're sponsoring, how much, and for what. Is that pretty much it?
Pretty much just, I had another question, but it's gone. Just clarification that we've never sponsored the Little Britches, because that kind of surprises me, that we've never had a buckle or something out there.
And not to speak for CAO Prosser, but he did make a good point earlier when we were discussing this, that there is the organizing committee, which is for the parade, and then there is also the Little Britches Rodeo. Mm-hmm. So we do support the parade organizing committee, and now it's a matter of confirming if we have supported the Little Britches Rodeo directly as well. So, and at what level? Yes, thank you for that. They did send us over a sponsorship package. Their 2,000 level sponsor, which is the highest sponsor, is actually sold. They do have other options, including, as Councillor McGonigal mentioned before, the different levels. There's a gold partner at $1,500, silver partner at $1,000, bronze, which is $100 to $1,000, and then they also have a buckle sponsorship at $500. So they do provide a number of options here, which I hate speaking off the cuff, but with their highest level sponsorship being $2,000 and the amount that I typically have in my budget being $2,500, that doesn't line up with a sponsorship for this event in previous years. So
What do you guys want to do? I mean, one thing that I looked at just here is if we had, you said $2,000? Yeah, $2,000. We could do like even a multitude of different things, a silver partnership and 2 buckles, or gold partnership and a buckle, or bronze partner and whatever, right?
and just keeping in mind that I do believe this is a new sponsorship request from the town. So not to say that you do have to hit a certain amount. If you can pick any of the levels, or you can do a combination, as you mentioned, Deputy Mayor Barton.
Okay. Councillor Nychuk.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Barton. Maybe I'm going to cloud the waters here a little bit more. Last meeting, Resolution 28-2026 approved a $2,500 rodeo shoot branding sponsorship to support the 2026 Memorial Rodeo. Do any of us know what the 2026 Memorial Rodeo is? And don't we need to rescind that then? I don't think we could do that outside of these chambers, so there's that piece of business that we need to take care of, because I don't think that funding applies to anything, as there was some confusion as to what this previous startup rodeo was. And
so to answer that question, and then I'll ask for some clarification, but we talked about that earlier today, and we actually rescinded it. It was one of the first things we did in the start of the regular meeting. I'm just trying to find it. It is
great. If it was there, good. Maybe I just got
3.1
confused because we were bouncing around a little bit at the start.
So when I made reference to Jody and I said I noticed something that 11.1 and it was actually 7.1. So adoption of the minutes 3.1 right at the beginning of the meeting should have read, and further discussions today under item 7.1 instead of. So we've rescinded it already. Correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, withdraw resolution 28, 2026.
Okay, thanks. I thought it was in reference to the agenda item being added, but it was okay, sorry, my apologies. Thank you for clarifying.
Yep, no, that's good. Councillor Cooey.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. I wonder if we could reach out to the Ag Society and ask for their sponsorship packages for the chuck wagons. And then we have both Little Britches and the chuck wagon in front of us, and we can decide how to distribute that $2,500 or add or take away for both of those kind of marquee events of our community.
I think that's a great idea. Jody?
We can certainly do that, and that would suggest that we would table this request for the time being until we get that information. I think that would be prudent.
Everybody okay with tabling this item? Okay, now this might sound funny, but how do I table an item? Officially.
Theoretically, I probably used the wrong terms. It's not, the motion's not on the floor right now.
Okay.
It's just an item that is being referred back to administration to come back to council.
Okay.
Alternatively, you could have a motion from one of us, and I'd be prepared to make that motion,
You're gonna
adjourning this
Okay.
to a further,
I'm going to ask you to
meeting.
officially make that motion then.
Yes,
Okay.
Motion to table.
Motion to table,
yes.
correct?
Actually, table means something different. Table is if we're going to deal with something and then come back to the motion. So I do suggest that the motion hasn't hit the floor yet,
Yep.
that we refer it to administration, and then we can bring it back as an agenda item on the next meeting once we have further clarity.
I'm going to use your exact wording. Let's refer it back to administration.
I'm happy to change my motion to refer to administration to be brought back to council with more information.
Okay, are we okay with doing that as a motion? The way she worded it?
Doesn't have to be a motion.
Doesn't have to be a motion. Okay. Okay.
Not on the table for debate.
Okay. Okay, so we're just referring it back to administration for further details. Everybody good with that? Okay. 7 we're moving on to number 8, closed meetings. So we'll take a couple minute break here to ask everybody to leave for the closed meeting. Do I have to make a mo? Oh, I do. I have to make a mo. Okay, Councillor McGonigal, I'm going to ask you to make a motion for the closed meeting. There we go. Okay. All right, welcome back to our program. Exactly. I'm gonna ask for a motion from Councillor Brookwell. Be it resolved that council appoint Taylor Cameron to the Community Vitality Advisory Committee with a term start date of March 10th, 2026, and expiry date of October 31st, 2028.
I give you that motion, Deputy Mayor Barton.
Do I have to say the second part too? You don't worry about it. Okay. Wow. I'm gonna watch this and see how many faux pas I had. All right. Thanks. All in favor? Motion carried. All right. And then just adjourn the meeting. Regular council meeting is adjourned on March 9th, 2026 at 4:37 p.m. Thank you very much.